Hi, my name is Rosario Moreno, and I'm going to be sharing my critical consumer article with you. I apologize if you hear any kind of crazy noises in the background. I got a lot of kids running around right now. Um, so the title of my article was Putting the Form in Formative Assessment by Pauline Zadonek. And formative assessment is a term I'm familiar with just from my previous teaching experience. My principal used to tell us to use them and to use them often. It was something that they really stressed at our school at the elementary level. And I know it's a big thing in middle school and high school as well. They said, the article stated that it's one of education's popular buzzwords right now, formative assessment. So the author's favorite, of course, they highlight using formative assessment, and they state that it's essential for student learning. So my last year of teaching experience, I was given a set of clickers. They kind of look like small, about 3 inches. They look like little remotes, and you could pick A, B, C, or D, or you could specify true or false. So I could create assessments and then deliver them throughout the lesson, and it would generate a graph, and the students could see. So it was pretty cool, and they really enjoyed it. So this article is supporting formative assessments, and it's also saying that a systematic or planned formative assessment is very beneficial. Um, Teachers, for the most part, use formative assessments. It's not always systematic or planned. A lot of times it's thumbs up if you think A is the answer, or everyone that thinks it's false, stand up. So those are kind of spur of the moment type things. And it's a quick and easy way to conduct an assessment during the learning process that'll give you an idea about who's understanding the content and who isn't. So um, why would you? Why would you go through a lesson from start to finish and not have an idea of who gets it? How terrible would that be to spend an hour teaching, content, and then 45 minutes later, when you ask a question, you realize that nobody understood. So, yeah, formative assessments, in my experience, have been very beneficial for guiding the lessons. So, this article focuses on an acronym, um, FORM, FORM, to stress the essential components of formative assessments. And so they say they should be fun, organic, relevant, and meaningful. So, what does the literature say in support of these four components? Does it support those four components? From what I gather, in large part, it does. John Dewey's work noted that learning is reinforced when a student can draw meaning and importance from the content. So, if through our formative assessments we can convey this meaningfulness of the learning, then perhaps students can get a better understanding of the process and the content. So, like I said, you're not going to wait till the end. It's something that you're going to use as you go along. So, if you can pull that meaning through the formative assessments, that'll strengthen the learning process and the learning. This also ties in with relevance. So, if instruction is relevant to what the students is doing, it's more easily recalled. So, how do we make the assessments relevant? Is the question. Um, we already know that, or researchers have found that the questions that we ask um, can activate prior knowledge, which aids in the integration of new information. There's a lot of crazy noises. Sorry. This article highlights that this assessment relevance, um, can be supported if you allow students to see how their answers or their feedback alters what you teach. So for instance, with the clickers in my classroom, when we would use the clickers and everyone got the answer right, or several answers from that topic right, then I could tell them, okay, guys, I planned to go over this for 15 more minutes, but we've mastered it. There's no point, or I don't need to keep telling you. I don't need to keep teaching you this content because you already know it. So we can progress to more challenging material. So they're like, oh, okay, wow, awesome. So with that, they're saying, okay, this assessment, this formative assessment, it's not for nothing. It's so I can know what you need and then guide my lessons that way. So that's a way to make it relevant and meaningful to your students. Another component of the formative assessment that was highlighted was making them organic. So by organic, they mean that not every assessment looks the same. So we all know that research supports differentiated instruction. The whole RTI, all of that. So what about assessment? So how does that work for assessment? So what the research says based on, so let me back up. So if I did, how would that look? If I'm teaching math content, maybe I was teaching computation, multiplication, or division or something like that. It might be fine to do five questions, five computational questions to assess whether or not they got it. If they get them right, they got it. If they don't, they didn't. Or if it was something that was a little bit more abstract, like for instance, inference skills, then maybe for that one, a more appropriate assessment would be two scenarios where I could pick up if they can infer what would happen next. So in a lot of ways, the assessment is going to be guided by the content. So and that's what the research says, that performance assessments, the structure and the format would depend on the content. So the last component of formative assessments that relates, the last component of formative assessments is making it fun. So what does the research say about the necessity of fun? What it does say is that, or what we do know is that activities that are enjoyable are more often chosen than activities that are aversive. So this plays into motivation a lot. So this motivation to engage in those certain activities or the assessment is stimulated by the different modes of assessment that you pick. So we could have like the parking lot, where you go and you park your sticky note in the parking lot, which that's like, nobody really finds that fun. Some people might. But the big thing now, especially for the high schoolers and middle schoolers, is something with a cell phone. Everybody has a cell phone nowadays. Everybody loves to be on their cell phone nowadays. So this article notes that teachers can make these assessments fun by using apps like Kahoot, Picklers, and there was a host of others that you could use and incorporate. So what overall does the research support this form of formative assessments? So yes, it does, and it might not talk about this form specifically, but the components are there and the research is there that backs up that those four components would be and are appropriate parts of the formative assessment process. And in the words of my old principal, use them and use them often. Thank you.